What up, YouTube? You can't stop trading and investing with your boy James E. Today we're gonna talk about two stocks, maybe three, but two for sure. I want to get into OZSC. Took a major hit on that this morning, but I talked about those dip buying plays, so recovered a nice chunk of that loss. Also want to talk about AITX. Made a beautiful profit on that. Capitalizing on the same movements I've been seeing. And then again, I talked about it in the last video, these dip buy opportunities. We about to get into that as well. But before I do, man, please click that like button. Please subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes to research and analyze anything I find interesting in the stock market. And I like to share that with anybody willing to listen. So that being said, let's just get right into it, shall we? Let's start off with OZSC. So this morning had a major gap down. We were down pretty big. If we back it up a little bit, we had this major drop off yesterday. So let's just get in right here. We had this major drop off. This is the first time it gapped down, okay? I've been so used to these things gapping up, but like I said, man, eventually the plays that you're seeing, eventually what you're seeing within a stock as far as the pattern goes within the chart, it's eventually going to die out at some point. I've been capitalizing on OZSC for quite some time now. And I took a $1,000 loss on it yesterday, which was roughly about a 3% loss. And so, and that all happened because this thing tanked. So, when I started noticing it holding here, I kind of prematurely bought it. I bought it in this 31 area right here, thinking that we would get a reversal right before the end, pick up some shares because that's the pattern I've been seeing. Every time I seen it hold, it would start curling back up towards the end. Instead, it went the opposite and it dropped even further. So that's what added to my loss yesterday on OZSC. Now, I did not expect it to gap down from 31 all the way down to the 26, 27 area. So immediately when the market opened, I sold my position. I was down $880, but that was a way to start off my morning. Again, because the play that I was playing showed me that it was no longer there. But I talked about it in the previous videos. If you guys haven't watched it, please go and do so. I've been noticing, every time this thing drops like this, just like it did yesterday, drops, has a nice pop. So when it dropped down to here in the 22s, I was able to capitalize, purchase 26,000 shares, and winded up getting me $300 back in this shot right here. Capitalizing on the movements that I see. I winded up getting some of my, getting some of that loss back, which was nice. So that put me at a negative 583, which is, roughly within that profit loss range that I'm comfortable with, because it dipped to 880, which was roughly about like a 8 to 9%. But when it's happening after hours in the OTCs, there's nothing I could do about it until the market opens. So I exited immediately, winded up taking a bigger loss, probably my biggest loss so far when we're talking percentages, because I'm going off percentages, because I only bought it in this account, bought 25,000 shares. And then when I noticed it kept dipping, I could have actually purchased more, but I didn't have the time to do the calculation in my head, so I just added another 1,000. So when it dipped, I winded up catching a piece of this move, and like I said, added another 300. Winded up collecting about a lower end of the 6 to 10% I usually capture, a little over 5%. That made me wind up with the total of about a little over 4% loss on OZSC, but was able to capitalize on that dip movement. And if I was just patient, I could have, if I didn't even buy it at this end and get greedy, because again, emotions play the best of it. In my mind, man, I just took a heavy hit on it. Not percentage wise, but dollar wise. Nobody wants to see a 4-figure loss, but percentage wise, it wasn't bad. A little over 3%. So it wasn't bad as far as percentage goes. But it kind of hit me a little bit because I've been on this massive green streak. And when I took that immediate red in the morning, it kind of was like, man, end of my green streak, but that's okay. That's the game we play. So when I seen it consolidating in here and it popped here, I definitely wanted to get in thinking that, it might reverse and continue in the upward pattern. But when it kept going, I didn't want to exit. I just said, you know what? I'll just add on to that loss from yesterday, and it should potentially gap up tomorrow. And then it gapped way down. If I would have just been patient and just walked away hands clean, yesterday I could have finished with the, because that added about $300 more to my actual loss from yesterday. So, I could have walked away with a $700 loss yesterday and just patiently waited for this dip this morning and then capitalized, and I wouldn't have had this loss that I have now. But those are the lessons that I learned from rewatching these things, because the play that I was playing is gone. So now this dip buy opportunity is now my new play. That's the new play in session for me now. And I capitalized on it. Got me back another 5% on my position size, which was nice. That is the lesson I learned now. So instead of me buying it thinking, now the pattern has changed. We are no longer getting those nice gap ups in the morning. We're getting gap down. So as long as I'm seeing a huge drop in the morning, that's going to give me an opportunity to dip buy it. And I capitalized on that dip buy on OZSC. And then also in the morning, AITX, as you can see in this account, we did gap up in the morning because we did again have this major drop. We had this major drop and then a curl action. And again, we're on this downward spiral, very similar to OZSC. I've been noticing the same thing in this pattern as well. So if we go to the 10-day, 30-minute chart, drop, pop back, 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 drop, pop back. Very similar to OZSC. So also, I capitalized on the same movement because the previous day yesterday and the day before, when we seen him drop and curl, it popped up. Just like it did this morning and the previous day, same here. Dropped, curl, popped up, dropped, curl, gapped up a little bit. So I was able to capitalize on that. Made me roughly about almost $900 profit. So already at the morning start, I took that $880 loss in OZSC and then made $890 in AITX. So started off my day basically break even. Basically break even at the beginning. And then I winded up capitalizing on the dip buy for OZSC. And then also AITX. So in this one, in this particular account, made 325. And then if we go into the other account here, that's where I made my other 500, another 500. And then in here, I repurchased 37,000 shares again to capitalize on the same dip that I'd seen in OZSC. Same dip buy opportunity. So overall, winded up with close to $1,000 profit on AITX. And then be capitalizing on that dip opportunity that I talked about, noticing that these dip and have a nice bounce. So I winded up buying it in this candle and then selling it in this push to add me an extra 200. So overall, between OZSC and AITX on dip buying the morning panic, winded up with a little over $500 profit. Which ultimately the break even of the overnight plays, the OZSC overnight, I was minus 880. And then on the overnight play for AITX, I was plus 890. Which basically left me break even. And then I was able to capitalize on the intraday, noticing that this thing, every time OZSC and AITX dip, it gives me a perfect opportunity. Now, in order to catch the dip, which is something you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'll give you, something to hint to where, where I know it's going to bottom at is when you notice over here in the bid and ask. So this is the bid, this is the ask. When you notice the turn in right here in the actual share size. So right now it's 11,000 on this side, 59,000 on this side. Now, typically this is in millions. So when you notice this get extremely bigger than this side, okay, that's a good telltale indicator that this thing is gonna turn. especially when you start seeing it chip away when you're looking at the time and sales. This is per second that each time shares are sold. So when you're looking over here and you're seeing it just all green on the ask side, and you're seeing heavier volume on this side compared to this side. So right now I'm seeing weakness because you see 239 here and 11 here. So that tells me that it's getting weak and it might drop off again. But when you see the exact opposite and you see in the 234 here on this side and the 14 over here on this side, and you're seeing this print go off of this 913 compared to the 910, that gives me a good sign that it's going to start reversing and pop. And so that's what I did. So I ended up capitalizing on about a small percentage because again, I only traded it in the one account. But made roughly about a 5% gain because for dip buys, I'm a little more shaky when it comes to dip buys compared to buying breakouts or reversals, because reversals are different for me than actual dip buys. Panic dip buys, it could pop and then it very well drop off. So as soon as I'm up $200 or $300 a share, that one I'm typically, usually I'll take my wins at a 4 to 6% profit, and I'll cut my loss as soon as I see any red at all. I'll just immediately cut my loss and get out. So I won't even give it a chance to reach the minus 2%. If I just notice in here, I keep a heavy eye in here. And if I'm noticing a turn in here, I just immediately exit regardless of, it could be less than 1% and I'll just immediately exit. So I maintain my risk reward ratio for that specific play of a panic dip buy. So overall, starting off my morning green between OZSC and AITX. Now, the other play that I said I might potentially talk about is SSFT. Now, SSFT is holding and maintaining near the area of a breakout. Okay, now the breakout level is at the 40 cent area. We have a clear path to the 49 area, which is a little less than a 25% profit. So it does have a good chance if it does break this. As you can see here, when it broke here at 3 days of red before turning, and it's still holding beautifully up here. So that tells me we do have a shot at breaking that 40 area. And that is a pattern that I'm very familiar with. And I like and I like multi-day breakouts. So that one I am going to just keep on my radar for the rest of the day. And if it starts curling, we could potentially break it tomorrow. Because what I'm seeing in the intraday action now, I don't think we're going to break it today. If it maintains this, it is possible to break it later on the day because it is still super early. The market's only been open for a half hour. That's going to be on my radar. So if anybody's interested in that, that's what I'm doing with SSFT. I'm waiting for the break over the 40. And when that happens, that gives me a clear shot for a 20 to 25% profit. And so I definitely want to try to capitalize on that. Because that move is a great move that I've always been comfortable with, and I have no problem holding on to that. So a quick lesson on AITX OZSC. My typical overnight play, it looks like it's dying off. I've been capitalizing a lot on that. OZSC bit me in the ass 2 days in a row. Overall, on both of those, bit me in the ass. So now I'm noticing the dip. The morning panic. And so now I'm just going to wait for the morning panics and capitalize on those morning panics, just like I did today. So winded up getting some of my loss back and, went from break even right at the morning start to capitalizing on the dip on AITX and capitalizing on the dip in OZSC to start off my day with about a $500 profit. And then just depending on what happens later on in the day, this is going to be the only one staying on my radar as of right now because a lot of the OTC markets, they're kind of just, in this downward trend with all the hype disappearing now and just waiting for the next opportunity, guys. That's what I do. I'm going to sit on my hands and wait for the next opportunity. Recognize the opportunity in OZSC and AITX that it's no longer popping for me, but it is dropping and popping. So waiting for that panic and then capitalize on that to add another $200 profit here. And then same thing with OZSC. Winded up getting $300 back out of that $880 loss. So again, like I said, overall, just recognizing that I went from break even right at the market open to going green, about a $500 profit, which is always nice, man. I'll take that all day, every day. And then this one is looking like it's gearing back up. As you can see, we just hit 38 on SSFT. So it does have the potential to maybe possibly break this 40 area at some point today. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that as well. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my analysis. Again, if you made it this far, please click that like button. Please subscribe. You Can't Stop Mafia is a mindset movement, meaning never stop yourself, never stop your progress, never stop your education, especially in finance. Having multiple streams of income is an amazing thing, and the stock market is a place where you can do that. So OZSC capitalized on the dip buy after that loss of the overnight. AITX capitalized on the overnight and the dip buy opportunity, which overall between those two have me plus 500 for the morning. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated as much as possible. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.